Hi, thanks so much for participating in this virtual retreat. My name's Cassie. I've been a member of this parish for over 12 years now, including the last 3 as a remote parishioner from far off the western part of the country. So it's a gift to be able to be back here praying with you all through video. I want to reflect a little bit on the resurrection, and you can't get to the resurrection without first going through the crucifixion, not driving by it or waving at it from afar, but going right through it and walking with Jesus in that. This is really hard for me when things are hard or I'm feeling uncomfortable. I tend to want to maybe dive into a distraction, like watching something on Netflix or cooking food that I love or going for a walk or being outside and really just politely waving at the sad or hard feelings when they show up and asking them if they could please go away now. In the reality, Jesus was dead. His mother watched him die. His brothers and his disciples watched him die. Total strangers watched him die. The clouds in the sky broke open and the whole world shook. There was no ignoring that Jesus was dead, and you can just walk around that. You just had to go right through it. So the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius invites us all into prayer where we walk side by side, hand in hand with Jesus. And that means for the crucifixion that we are called to be right there, feeling it all. And this is just part of the process to getting to the resurrection. I've been thinking a lot about spending time in airports recently. I moved across the country a few years back, and I've had jobs that have asked me to travel a lot and visit a variety of communities. So I spent a lot of time in airports. I've been in airports where I flew back home and had close friends show up and greet me and just feel that warm embrace of a good friend who you haven't seen in a long time. I've been in an airport here where I've had friends come and visit and have a little bit of anxiety of, are they going to like where I'm living, and have that excitement when they walk out of the door and we're just reunited again. And I've been in airports where I'm just the only one traveling with myself to a place I've never been, and I watch other friends and family reunite, and it always warms my heart to see those greetings happen. St. Ignatius loved imaginative prayer, and this is one of the things of Ignatian spirituality that I too love. And in imaginative prayer, you pray with all of your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? What are you touching? So I would love if you're all willing to take a minute right now and imagine a time of reunion. Maybe it was at an airport, or maybe it was returning to college for a new semester, or to visit family on a trip. And, a lot of us are looking forward perhaps to reunions at this point and haven't maybe felt one in a long time, but just take a second and think of one that felt like a warm memory. So imagine the space, and if you're comfortable, you can gently close your eyes. Where were you? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Perhaps a mixture of excitement and anticipation, perhaps longing or even sadness show up. Who is there? Who is there with you, and who else is just there in this space? What can you smell? What other things or landmarks or signs or bustling noises do you see or hear? Just place yourself fully in that moment, in the moment of being reunited with a loved one. And take a couple of breaths to breathe in that memory. Now, this is a beautiful space, and it's a memory of a physical reunion. So in some ways, it's not even on the same level of what we're talking about with the resurrection. We're talking about a time where we recognize God living in our lives right now, always and forever. So imagine this: on Easter Sunday, we get to witness, celebrate, and participate in a reunion that is 10,000 times more powerful and loving than any of the reunions that we could just imagine or fathom. Mary had watched Jesus die on the cross, and now he is risen and reunited with his mother, reunited with his disciples. St. Ignatius also invites us specifically to imagine the moment where Mary sees her son again for the first time. This isn't specifically written about in any of the Gospels, but it's a moment we can all dream up. So imagine that. Imagine the hugs, the tears, the joy, and a love more infinite than I can possibly feel. This is what we get to celebrate on Easter, the resurrection, being together in relationship in the fullness of love and joy. So today, as we sit with Jesus, I would invite you to imagine and soak in a memory or a moment of spiritual recognition. So maybe later today, or you have some time where you're walking or quietly journaling, and perhaps it was a time in your relationship with God where your life took an unexpected turn and it wasn't what you thought you were praying for. Or maybe it was a moment at Mass or at a retreat where you felt the Spirit stirring in your heart and it brought you to tears. Or a time like I've had so many of, where I'm on a phone call or a video call with a good spiritual friend, and we're talking and praying together and we lose all sense of space and time, and all of a sudden hours have passed and we've just been playing and dancing and walking with Jesus and one another. I can't think of a better way to spend some time Easter weekend at home in prayer than remembering and imagining moments of resurrection and unification with God. Plus, if I was flying to an airport and Jesus was the one to pick me up, I like to imagine that it'd be really fun to run through and drop all your bags and everyone's looking like, what's going on? And then you have that moment where you're just swept up in eternal love. And that is a little bit of a memory or a moment that I want to dream about while I dream about travel again when that happens. So thank you for being a part of this journey, and thank you for praying with me today. Happy Easter.